Welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. We appreciate you staying with us here on our streaming platforms. You can find us. Don't forget about YouTube. If you haven't done so already, be sure to follow WBRC on YouTube. A great way to stay up to date, especially when there's active weather happening around the state. We're always streaming right there. But we're going to get into it right now. We have some weather headlines that feature warmer temperatures. Also, we're talking about gusty winds for tomorrow. Winds over 30 miles per hour. So when you head out to the mailbox, make sure you have a good handle on the mail that may end up down the street. Shower or thunderstorm tomorrow, far northwest possibly. I'll explain that as we talk weather here right now. Temperatures in the 70s and picked up about a quarter-inch of rain from our network of weather watchers today. Fairly impressive rain amounts with this system today. We saw a lot of wet weather that's actually riding around that ridge that's positioned to the south of us, and it's almost like we're in late June or in the May season when we often get those complexes of storms that move in from the northwest. They're kind of riding around that ridge, and you can see where it's a little bit cooler here where we got the rain in areas to the north and notably warmer in areas to the south where we didn't see quite as much rainfall. But the flow of showers has settled down for now. We're going to stay dry through tonight. Right now it's not too windy, so later on this evening before those winds do pick up, if we do see those conditions rather calm, it's certainly possible we could see some foggy weather out there, but we do expect the winds to pick up, and that's going to mix out any fog that tries to develop. Very windy conditions developing later on tonight. You can see there those 70s showing up. So most areas, the way it looks right now, we had that small chance of maybe seeing a shower to the northeast this evening, but all the wet weather has moved on out. So just a mild night and some clouds around, but an increasing breeze there later on tonight. So here's what's going to happen. The next big thing that we're going to be tracking is a very potent upper level storm system. This is going to be responsible for all kinds of snow and winter weather happening, stretching over multiple states. I mean, we're talking over 20 states right now with some sort of winter advisory. Blizzard conditions expected over the upper plains into the Midwest. That's blowing snow. We're talking about winter still in full swing across a good portion of the country while we deal with almost mid-spring-like conditions here across Alabama. So with that system back to the north and west of us, there is an organized risk for strong to severe storms that stretches from Oklahoma back to Arkansas and into Missouri and parts of Illinois. That is for tomorrow. That is the slight risk level 2 out of 5. So watch, I do have the forecast data on here. That's 11 o'clock tonight. So watch tomorrow in that risk zone. You see right there, storms develop. That's a look at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then you can see there by 5 o'clock in the afternoon as that moves further east. Well, as the dynamics lift further north, the bulk of the storm activity is going to move north, and this line starts to kind of weaken as it bumps into that ridge that's down into the southeast region that's keeping us warmer and mainly dry. So there's a chance if this does hold together, I can't rule out our far northwest areas, maybe a stray storm or stray shower, but most of our area will be dry. But with that system passing close by, we're kind of squeezed in between there with a very tight pressure gradient, so that's what's going to drive those winds out of the south, that gusty south wind as that system passes to the north. So we will know that there's a storm system impacting the country from those strong gusty winds tomorrow, but thankfully we don't expect any severe weather or any significant impacts from that system. So that's what we're tracking. So any rain tomorrow, well, maybe to the northwest, but that's about it. We'll show you what's on the way for the rest of the weekend. We'll go into Friday and the weekend. Coming up here on Weather Extra, we've got a lot to bring you this evening, including more on that recovery in Utah from the tornadoes. We've got some ground reports from there today, updates from the Turkey earthquakes that we've been bringing to you. Those updates there, a second earthquake, we told you about yesterday, and more on the springtime feel that we're dealing with, and some cool research on the planet Jupiter as we have some space news for you today on Weather Extra. Stay with us.
Every storm has a story, where it came from, where it's going, and the lives impacted in between. Where our story begins is with your First Alert. warning you well ahead of time so the chapter in between isn't filled with surprises. The largest team on your side, dedicated to telling the story that starts and ends with you. This is why we First Alert.
First Alert, we are tracking
In times like this,
we now have a tornado warning that's active.
having a way to see and hear what's happening on your phone,
The most intense part of this storm right now is tracking towards Shelby County.
that means everything.
Okay, you need to get in your safe place now. Stay there. We will let you know when this warning expires. Stay with us.
Download the First Alert Weather app today. Stay alert. Stay with the First Alert Weather Team. Mornings, they're yours. Where you start fresh, get your body moving, and tackle a new day. Our mornings are for you. Janice, Mike, Mickey, and Toy, starting early and staying with you all morning long. With more voices speaking to you where you are, and getting to the point with more First Alert weather and traffic from the source you trust. Always on your side. This is Good Day, Alabama.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. The weather may be warm here in Alabama, but more than 40 million people in other parts of the country are in the path of a potent winter storm. 22 states are under winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings, including some blizzard warnings for parts of the upper plains. The heaviest bands could set up near Minneapolis, where forecasters estimate 20 inches of snow to fall. And who better to break down this winter weather going on out west than one of our own meteorologists here on the First Alert Weather Team. We check in with Matt Daniel for an update.
We're taking a look ahead at the upcoming week, going into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Of course, we've been advertising the warm temperatures here, but the weather's been extremely active across the country, especially in the western U.S. and into the northern tier. So just looking ahead, we got a system forming in the central United States. Could produce some showers, maybe some strong storms in parts of Arkansas, maybe into Missouri and into Iowa. But then on the northern side of the storm, we're looking at winter. So if you're wondering where winter has gone, it is staying well to the north. The jet stream sort of digging in the west and moving up into the Great Lakes. And so as we go into Thursday, that system will, or most of that energy from that system, will make its way into the Great Lakes in the northeast. And as you can see in blue, that's indicating some snow in parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Michigan, also into areas as far north and east into Maine. So Wednesday, here's that setup. We got that upper level system deepening, and that's spreading snow across the four corners and into the Rockies. So you can see around Utah and Colorado, Wyoming, seeing some snow. This will travel to the north and east as we go into Wednesday afternoon. Lots of snowy conditions there, and of course, if there's going to be lots of travel concerns in around Minneapolis, parts of the Great Lakes region, so you definitely want to check your flights if you are traveling up towards the north or into the western U.S. And these are some of the snow potentials in around Minneapolis and Green Bay, and you see those darker blue bands indicating maybe higher than 4, 5, 6 inches of snowfall. So there could be some issues all along this area going into Wednesday night. And on top of that, we've got some cold temperatures at the surface, but warm air aloft. So that's also going to produce icing concerns or freezing rain. And you see that in pink. So there's that cold air meeting with the warm air, and in between, that's where we're seeing that wintry mix or ice in around just north of Chicago, maybe in parts of Detroit. And there could be some significant icing perhaps as we go into Wednesday evening, damaging icing potential possible in some areas. So here's just a look at some of the estimates from the models. Of course, these could easily change, but very active weather once again across the Great Lakes. Look at the temperatures though. You can find where it's spring spring versus summer. And these are temperatures tonight. Notice the southeast very warm with the southerly flow. Lots of us in the 60s, but then you go all the way up towards Bismarck and they're looking at temperatures well below zero there. So that's where all the cold air is staying, and that's where it's going to stay for the next several days. You can see that cold air. These are high temperatures, by the way, for tomorrow afternoon. 37 in Chicago. That's where they're flirting with that freezing rain potential, especially to the north. But look at the southeast. Almost like summer. Look at Austin, Texas, 87 degrees for a high temperature tomorrow afternoon. And of course, we could see several 80s in parts of the south and east. So pretty active weather pattern. And when you have stalled boundaries, it can be very tricky on determining rain chances and temperatures, especially if you live in parts of Kansas, Nebraska, and going into Iowa. Look at the temperature extreme. 72 in Wichita, 35 in Omaha.
Yeah, we're definitely doing better than Bismarck this evening. Checking in tomorrow with a low of, or a high temperature of below 5 degrees. Can't even fathom that. Coming up on First Alert Weather Extra tonight, help for tornado survivors in Hale, Greene, and Sumter counties. That includes Utah, where folks are still struggling after 3 disastrous storms. Congresswoman Terry Sewell hosted 2 roundtables on disaster relief to give elected leaders an update on resources available and recovery efforts in their communities. It also gives those leaders a chance to ask questions and share what they really need.
But we do know that this is going to be a marathon and not a sprint. But if we work together, if we understand what resources are out there from the state, from the federal government, and then we work together to make our applications and to provide the information that we need.
Sewell says the roundtables are part of her ongoing efforts to help folks in Alabama's 7th Congressional District recover and rebuild following the January 12th storms. The death toll is rising in the earthquake in Turkey on Monday. Now up to 6 people reported dead and more than 200 others injured in both Turkey and Syria. The earlier 7.8 magnitude quake killed 46,000 people across the 2 countries. New information tonight on that train derailment in Ohio. Federal environmental regulators are now in charge of the cleanup from the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment, but they are ordering Norfolk Southern to pay for it. The company would be required to reimburse the federal government for a new program to provide cleaning services for impacted residents and businesses. The EPA warned Norfolk Southern that if they failed to comply with its order, the agency would perform the work itself and seek triple damages from the company. While back here in Alabama, some spring-like weather in store. We check in with Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt for a look at that super 7-day forecast. And I'll take you beyond the 7-day to let you know if there's any more hints of winter back in the forecast. We'll be right back.
Are you noticing mold or discoloration in your shower? Or maybe you just want to replace that old bathtub with something more modern and luxurious? Well, either way, we've got you covered. Hey everybody, I'm joined by BJ Worzen, owner of West Shore Home, to talk a little shower and bath remodeling and how West Shore is making the entire process from start to finish fast and easy. BJ.
Thanks, Joe. At West Shore Home, we understand the headaches and stress a remodeling project can cause. That's why everything that we do is designed to make it stress-free for our customers.
A lot of people don't think of remodeling as stress-free, especially bath remodeling. So how are you making a complicated process easier?
Everything in our process can be done from the comfort of your own home. Give us a call and we'll send one of our bath experts out that has a time that's most convenient for you. And when it comes time for that installation, we're going to send one of our employee installers out and complete that project in as little as 1 day.
So no running out to big box stores and comparing samples and colors and then maybe waiting months for the installation. You're saying this is an all-inclusive process, making it really fast and easy for customers. That's great. Now, BJ, I understand you have a flash sale going on right now. Tell us about that.
That's right, Joe. Right now, anyone that gives us a call, we're going to do free installation on all shower and bath remodeling projects. On top of that, we're going to be doing 12 months, no interest, no payment financing. That means you can get that bath project done right now and you don't have to make any payments or pay any interest until 2024.
Free installation, that's a great offer. Well, let's see some projects you've done recently.
Absolutely, let's take a look. Here, we were able to completely remove an outdated shower and bath and install something that matched the rest of their bathroom. That low step feature is going to make getting in and out of that shower really easy. And the sleek matte black hardware looks amazing. Here's a few more. All of these were installed in 1 day, and just a reminder, for a limited time, anyone that calls will get free installation on their shower and bath project.
BJ, thanks so much. Folks, call West Shore Home now for this limited time offer. It's free installation on all shower and bath projects. Plus, for limited time, BJ is doing 12 months of no payments and no interest financing. Get your shower project now and don't worry about making a single payment until 2024. Call West Shore Home now.
Well, certainly a unique weather pattern that we're in right now. We do have winter still across a good part of the country, as we've been telling you. Matt had that update before the break, but for us, it's like we've jumped right into springtime. And on top of that, we actually have tree pollen that's elevated right now. You may have noticed today a little bit of pollen on the car tops. Tomorrow, most areas dry. It's going to be a windy day, 80 degrees for a high temperature, 82 on Thursday. We get close to record levels there, which is right around 83 degrees on Thursday. Don't know if we'll actually tie a record, but we won't be far off. Overnight lows cooling off a bit by this weekend. What's going to happen Thursday night and Friday is a front manages to move into the area. It's going to be weakening, but it'll be just enough to drop those temperatures back into the 60s for highs on Friday. Won't last long. We warm up again this weekend, back into the 70s. And still watching Monday, I noticed some of the deterministic data today is kind of back on board with some of those instability parameters that really stood out earlier in the week. I was noticing that we could have some storms. We need to keep a watch on Monday for a risk of severe weather. Monday or Tuesday, off and on, models have hinted at that possibility. Notice how we cool off there, but we're going to keep an eye on that particular day. All right, so live look this evening. You see that lovely crescent moon. If you look up tonight through the clouds, you may be able to catch the moon. Also, Venus and Jupiter tonight visible in the evening sky, but no precipitation falling out there right now. All the rain has ended, as you can see, and 60s and still showing 73 in Tuscaloosa. This is going to be one of those weeks, a great opportunity to get out there and get a walk in, head out to the park and enjoy some of these nice evening conditions. 6 p.m. to midnight tonight, we still see some of those clouds around, but with that south flow really picking up, there's a chance we may catch some breaks, perhaps some areas to the south. I still think we'll get a little bit of sun in the mix tomorrow, and that the model data suggests that maybe a shower could pop up to the east. You see right there, a couple of isolated showers. I think there's one area we need to watch. It's back to the northwest with those storms moving in tomorrow. See back in here? If some of that holds together, Marion County, perhaps Lamar County, we could have a shower, maybe a thunderstorm. Otherwise, most areas stay dry. See, that's 7 o'clock. Watch as we go beyond 7 p.m. and watch that wet weather. It just falls apart. You see that? So, again, the bubble of high pressure is kind of protecting us, keeping us mostly dry here, but very warm. And also, again, during the day tomorrow, especially early afternoon and mid-afternoon, it's going to be very, very windy. So, probably not a good idea if you needed to rake up any leftover leaves or limbs, do a little yard work tomorrow. You're going to be battling those gusty winds there into the afternoon. May just want to hold off, give it a day. But windy, and here's a look at some of the forecast wind gusts. Again, not sustained winds, but some gusts out there over 30 miles per hour. You know, typically the month of March, we see those windy conditions and kite flying weather. I think we're going to get that early taste of March as far as those gusty winds there for our Wednesday. So 7-day forecast again, looks like Friday, perhaps a little bit of a cool down, not a significant drop in temperatures. And looks like over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, highs back into the 70s. A few isolated showers. Not too bad for the weekend. Doesn't look like a total washout. Looks like a couple of isolated showers there, as you can see, for Saturday and into Sunday. But looking ahead, I just want to state, I would not put away the jacket just yet. The way it works around here, weather patterns oscillate. You're still in the time of year where you can have some significant outbreaks of cold weather in the month of March. It has snowed around here. In the late 80s, we had several inches of snow in early April. So it can happen. We can have snow well on into April. So there's still a ways to go as far as the cold weather. I know we're getting this early taste of warm weather. However, meteorologist Lauren Linehan is with us as we go beyond the 7-day. And Lauren, you talked about it yesterday. At least I'm saying that, you know, we were probably going to have some cold snaps, but we're not seeing it right now.
Yeah, Wes, it's almost like we're turning the page a little bit. Instead of it being winter more dominant, now spring is kind of more dominant. And yes, you can still get those cold snaps, but Snap is the key word. They just don't last as long, and it's almost like those warmer temperatures, the stretch of warmer weather really begins to take over. So yeah, there we go. Now on the West Coast, still seeing below average temperatures here over the next 6 to 10 days. That's where they've been dealing with this winter storm this afternoon. But for us, across a good portion of the deep south, above average temperatures still expected. So this time of the year, we should be right around 60 degrees for our high temperature. So normal high of 61, but you'll notice as we get into next week, still looking possible that we could be seeing 70s in the forecast. So running much milder than average. I'm telling you, if it keeps up, I may have to go out by the pool one day because we are getting into that spring-like territory. Now, for high temperatures, we've been seeing the possibility, we mentioned this yesterday on Weather Extra, maybe a cool down for that first weekend in March, but then it doesn't look like temperatures would stray too far from that above average territory as we get past that first weekend in March. Now, the question is, could we see any more freezing temperatures in the forecast? As Wes was saying, we don't want to totally discount that. So still looks pretty mild going into early next week, but by next weekend, that first weekend of March, we may see some spots that could be dealing with some frost in areas. But other than that, still looks like generally the trend is going to be favoring warmer than average temperatures. Now, what about rainfall? Well, a good northern 2/3 of the U.S. still seeing above average precipitation, but let's break it down here. Closer to the Gulf Coast, drier than average. If we look specifically at Alabama, this tells me, just looking at this, that subtropical ridge that has been in place to the southern Atlantic or the southern southeast U.S. here and over the Gulf Coast, on the Atlantic coast and Gulf Coast with that ridge in place, I think that could still limit rain chances closer to the water. But as Wes was saying, on the north side of the ridge, and this is often a pattern we see more in May, you have that little bit of northwest flow, and so you get these disturbances to come by that can bring rain to the northern half of the state on the northern periphery of that ridge. So that's likely what we could be seeing here, that pattern persisting. Sometimes these patterns are real stubborn, so not out of the question to see that sticking around 6 to 10 days from now. But coming up on Weather Extra, I know it's Tuesday, you may have the early week blues, so got some cute animal video for you. I know we normally say that for Friday, but we do what we want around here on Weather Extra, and some updates on our dear friend Jupiter, all the way up in outer space. We'll be right back.
Every storm has a story, where it came from, where it's going, and the lives impacted in between. Where our story begins is with your first alert, warning you well ahead of time so the chapter in between isn't filled with surprises. The largest team on your side, dedicated to telling the story that starts and ends with you. This is why we First Alert.
First alert, we are tracking
In times like this,
we now have a tornado warning that's active.
having a way to see and hear what's happening on your phone,
The most intense part of this storm right now is tracking towards Shelby County.
that means everything.
Okay, you need to get in your safe place now. Stay there. We will let you know when this warning expires. Stay with us.
Download the First Alert Weather app today. Stay alert. Stay with the First Alert Weather Team. Mornings, they're yours. Where you start fresh, get your body moving, and tackle a new day. Our mornings are for you. Janice, Mike, Mickey, and Toy, starting early and staying with you all morning long. With more voices speaking to you where you are, and getting to the point with more First Alert weather and traffic from the source you trust. Always on your side. This is Good Day, Alabama.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. You know, typically if we have cute animal video on here, I'm going to have something to do with cats. But today we're switching it up a little bit. A playful baby pygmy hippo is making strides and now swimming with her mom. What an accomplishment. And an unprecedented number of manatees will return to their natural habitat in a single day. CNN's Cole Higgins meets our cute animal video quota.
Take a look at precious and perfect pygmy hippo Petunia, playing in her pool at the Metro Richmond Zoo in Virginia. The pygmy hippo calf is just 2 months old and has started swimming with her mom, Iris. Zookeepers describe the chunky girl as confident, brave, and spunky. You could even say she's a hippopotamus. Petunia is often found leading the way, with her mom following her into the pool.
Hey, buddy.
And joined at the hippo at the Cincinnati Zoo are baby hippo Fritz and his mom, Bibi. The sleepy 6-month-old calf found a unique napping position on his mom, and
This is the cutest thing ever.
we totally agree. While Fritz was sleeping, 3 of his former zoo neighbors were getting adjusted to their new home in Florida. These orphaned manatees who were rehabilitated at the Cincinnati Zoo were among an unprecedented 12 manatees returned to their natural habitat in just 1 day. Swim Shady, Albee, and Manhattan are now living in their native warm waters after the Manatee Rescue and Rehabilitation Partnership released the animals into Blue Springs State Park. The park is one of the largest winter gathering sites for the species in Florida. The sea cows were all outfitted with GPS tracking devices so that researchers can monitor manatee movement and make sure they're adapting to the wild.
You know, I just, before we go on, I have one question or one request for all of you. Will the real Swim Shady please stand up? There's no one in here to laugh at that joke, okay? Yeah. No, we're not going to break. Our director is threatening to go to break. We still have one more story and a look at that Super 7 day, but I'm not going to get over that one for a long time. So let's go to outer space because obviously things are getting a little weird here on Earth. Scientists say they may have figured out what's behind those mysterious red streaks on Jupiter's moon, Europa. They suspect it is a new type of salty ice. The moon has an ocean that sits below a thick shell of ice. Researchers believe the red streaks on the surface are from a combination of water and salts, but they do not match any known substance on Earth. So scientists tried to recreate what they were seeing in a lab. They combined water, table salt, cold temperatures, and high pressure, all in a day's work. This created a new type of solid that scientists believe is a solid crystal that may exist on Europa's surface. You know, normally any other day I would think that story's pretty cool, but hard to beat, hard to top the real Swim Shady. So I don't know if you're going to be swimming in the forecast just yet, even though we do have 80s for Wednesday and Thursday. You know how it is early on in the spring and it's still late winter. That pool water is going to be ice cold. Icy and salty. Okay, we got too many cool scripts today. So still going to be warm Wednesday and Thursday. Rain chances aren't overwhelming. Notice we've got rain chances kind of around 10, 20, 30% through Friday. There's going to be a front nudging our way on Friday. Notice we go from 80s down towards 60s, but it's not going to cool us down much at all. That front is going to stall out, and so we'll keep at least a chance of isolated showers in the forecast over the weekend. This pattern, as Wes was mentioning, is pretty tricky, so there's a chance we could bring those rain chances down or bring them up. Make sure you're staying up to date with us and on that First Alert weather app. And then going into next week, could have a few more showers and storms around on Monday. Notice, as we mentioned, though, still looking pretty warm even into next week. But you can check in with Wes tonight for an update on that Super 7-day forecast on First at 9. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Tuesday evening.